Well, there's a lot of people inside this Wuxi Sports Centre. There'll be a lot of noise from Table 1, where Deng Junhui, the local hero, is in action. But these two have just got to shut all that out. Marco Fu against Nigel Bond for a place in the last 32 of the Wuxi Classic. As I say, Joe, a lot of experience between these two. This could be a tight match.
Yes, there is a lot of experience. Both very good safety players, aren't they? Nigel Bond, 47 now. Doing well to still be there at 47. Marco Fu, not a spring chicken though, at 35. Just seems like 2 minutes since he started. Marco Fu, great player, great break builder. Marco Fu, 288 century breaks. Nigel Bond himself is in the 100 break class.
He's looked after himself. He's never been a wild man of the sport, Nigel, and it's a secret of his longevity. Oh dear, can't afford too many of those though.
Now played it with a lot of left-hand side to create the angle to come onto the red here. And if he is on the red, it's easy enough to bust the pack of reds off the black. As David said, he can't afford to miss those type of shots. Now, all depends on this shot, how the ball's split. Needs a kiss. And that's not worked out too badly.
Well, he's not one to back away. That's why he's had so many century breaks. He likes to get stuck in, get scoring as quickly as possible. Always a difficult player, I think, to predict, Marco. He pretty inconsistent. When he plays well, he plays really well. But if it's not there, then it's not going to happen for him. And you can usually tell early on in a match how it's going to go. So this first frame might tell us quite a lot.
Yes, I think he just tried to hit the reds there above the black, stay on that red to the left corner. May have to come round the back of the black here. No, he can hold it. Well, not a particularly good safe positional shot there from Marco Fu. Wanted to be straight on this red to the left corner. Not sure if he can play the cannon to the red to hold for the pink or black. But if not, then easy enough to play for the blue. Oh, he's overcut it. So an easy miss from both players. Nigel with the black and Marco with the red there.
Crowd got very excited before it all started with Deng playing, and referee there just asking a couple of people just to settle a bit. Snooker's actually one of the few sports where you don't need to warm the crowd up. If anything, the opposite. Because of course you've got to be reasonably quiet.
Well, that was again a little bit of a nervous shot there from Nigel Bond. He was a bit close to the ball, but still expecting him to pop that. Wanted a fuller ball kiss on the blue. It should have left him nicely on the black. So just a safety shot. Trying to hide that red in that's closest to the balk line. And looks like he's managed to do that. Well, he chose to play down this end of the table. I felt he could have had a go at this red into the right corner. Wasn't going to be leaving anything, but he has left a chance for Marco Fu. And as David said earlier, sometimes you get the feeling that if Marco starts well and he's in that frame of mind, he can beat anybody, but he hasn't started well.
It's almost as if sort of the nerviness is contagious. I think Bond has just been a bit twitchy on a couple, and maybe that's transferred to Fu. First frame, of course. Tough match this for Fu. He's the seeded player, the higher ranked player of the two, but he's not playing some young kid who's going to freeze rabbit light in the headlights. He's playing someone who has been in a world final, won the British Open, been as high as 5 in the world. Yes, the name's Bond, Nigel Bond, and last season he won the World Seniors Championship, beat some real old stagers in that, Dennis Taylor, Tony Knowles, Darren Morgan, and in the final, Tony Chappell. Marco Fu's best performance last season. He got to the final of the German Masters in Berlin, lost out 9-6 to Ali Carter. Also got to the second round of the World Championship, where Judd Trump beat him 13-7.
Didn't intend the double kiss. Now can Marco Fu be tempted by the red, by the green? No guarantee of position if he takes it on. He's missed the balls there. He was just trying to skim off them thin, try and come in behind the blue.
Well, I know Marco wears contact lenses when he's playing. Maybe they need a wipe.
Well, if he just rolls into the reds, he could be in deep trouble next shot. And that's why he's playing this red by the blue spot. He recognised the danger. Well, it was very close, and so was the green. Well, I'm sure he expected to hit the reds there. Found the gap between them. And a little unfortunate to going off in the middle pocket. This is a chance now for Nigel Bond. Now may be able to push this red over the right corner pocket. Just trickle the green in. Well, he's pushed it over the left corner, but and that will do. Pink may be available into the left middle. And he might be able to leave this in such a way as to play the cannon to the four reds. Don't think he's pulled that cue ball back enough. Needed to come back another inch. I think he's just about hard enough to come onto the brown. And he's got a nice angle on the brown to be able to go into those four reds. Not too hard. And not quite thick enough. Needed a fuller ball contact.
Well, it's been nip and tuck so far, a few mistakes on either side. Marco Fu, coached in Hong Kong by Wayne Griffiths, who son of Terry Griffiths, former world champion. Of course, Terry advises a lot of players, most notably, of course, at the end of last season, Barry Hawkins, who got to the world final. I wonder if he taught him that one.
As I was just about to say. He played a good cue ball, though. And that's what he did play. Didn't play the pot. But a chance to play a good safety or snooker. Landing up behind the yellow and using the brown. Looks favourite. He could land up behind the green, but his touch would have to be good. Well, again, he didn't play that. He played the safety. And he's got a pretty good shot. Got to be careful of the double kiss here.
Well, I don't know if the noise put him off there, but there was a loud clatter from somewhere.
Well, he'd have still played the same shot, and the double kiss was always on, and he found it. So a chance now for Nigel Bond.
It's a huge arena, this is 6 tables, and there are a lot of people in this evening.
Yes, Nigel's considering playing for the pink, and if one of those 2 reds goes, it may have been worth playing for them. Hard to tell from this commentary position if that red does go to the right corner. It looks like it does, but he's right behind the shot. I think he'd played to disturb them, and he hasn't played it well.
Well, he came very close there to being right up behind that pink.
Well, can he see them? I'm not so sure if he can. He would have just played off them by now, surely. It must be very tight, this. The problem is, even if he can see them, he's going to be leaving a shot on to the right corner. He can't hide the cue ball behind the yellow. Needed to get that cue ball closer to the cushion. He's left a chance at this red. not sure what he played there. I think he may have played the pot. If he played the safety, well, he's caught it all wrong. He's got no option here but to play the cannon to the red. And he just doesn't know how he's going to connect to it. He'd love to be able to screw past the red, play the cannon to the pink, which would leave him on the red, but I don't think he's got the angle to play that shot. No, it's just the cannon. But he's given himself a chance here. Wouldn't need the pink or black. If this red goes in, chance of winning this frame. Well, I don't think he played the double in, especially at that speed, but I think he's been fortunate getting the snooker. Very nearly dropped in. Well, what a great chance now for Nigel Bond to take this first frame.
Yes, Marco Fu has not looked too impressive, frankly, in this frame, which is a concern for the reasons I stated earlier. He's going to need the green and the brown. Well, it's taken a few chances, but it looks like Nigel Bond is going to win this opening frame. If you've been watching snooker a while, I know you'll find it hard to believe that he's one of the oldest players on the circuit now, Nigel, but he is at the age of 47. Still a tough match player, and he's won the opening frame here. Marco Fu did have a few chances, but it's the Englishman who claims first blood here in Wuxi. 1-0 he leads. We're back very shortly with frame 2. Today, the 6 tables, most of them, of course, watching table 1, where Deng Junhui leads Jamie Burnett 1-0. Plenty keeping an eye on this one as well.
pushed a red over the corner, but he's been very fortunate. The cue ball finishing up in front of the green. Difficult to control the cue ball bridging over the green like that, and you can't see him taking this pink on. Just too tough a shot. Easy safety to drop in behind the yellow or behind the green. Just caught it a little thin. And this is definitely a chance for Marco Fu. Oh, he's missed that by some distance. And that really was a bread and butter shot for Marco Fu, or should have been. Wasn't difficult at all, but didn't get near the pot.
Well, that's a let-off though. I was just thinking before he played that obviously Bond is going to be observing Fu and thinking, right, he's there for the taking here, but he's missed straight away.
Yeah, a bit of a difference between that shot and Marco Fu's, though. Marco Fu's was to an open pocket, missed it by a distance, whereas Nigel Bond, they look easy shots along the cushion, but yes, you expect them to get them, but they are missable. Nigel could do with a nice easy chance just to start to establish himself in this game, because Marco's there for the taking again. That was a pot to the corner. And he's just well out of sorts at the moment. Still nothing easy for Nigel Bond. This red does go to the baulk corner, but he's choosing to play safe. And that just shows you the confidence that both players are feeling at the moment. Thought he would have taken that red up to the baulk corner. Could have played the cue ball towards the cushion, been on the blue. And now such is the confidence of the game of snooker that he doesn't want to take anything on now, Marco Fu. Nothing difficult anyway. Nigel may be forced into taking this red on by the blue spot. The safety is difficult. Great pot. That was a great pot from Nigel Bond. Played it in such a way as not to leave anything easy had he missed it. And he could have played something similar the last time he came to the table, and it was a more difficult pot, that one.
His rate of scoring has slowed down the last few years. He made 2 centuries last season, which, bearing in mind all the tournaments he played in, isn't that many, but don't have to win every frame with a century, of course. what he has got, which you can't manufacture, is experience of big matches. He's been in a world final. He's won a ranking title, a couple of other tournaments as well. Was a mainstay of the top 16 for a number of years.
Yes, he could have done without that little rub on the pink there. It's left him hampered to the long straight red. And this one is not easy. He's cannoning into the other red. And that added to the difficulty. Nothing easy there though for Marco Fu. Oh, good cueing. Tough pot down the cushion. Well, if he's going to take a red on, there's one just below the pink spot. And if he's going to play one, that looks the easiest one. Not even close. So, reds to both corners. But the way that Marco Fu is feeling at the moment, I don't think he'll fancy either one of them. This will help things, getting the blue back on its spot. He needs a full ball kiss. He didn't get it. That's a good recovery. Difficult shots, those, to the middle. Trying to develop the black, which is done. But a little unfortunate not to be on anything easy here. The red will go to the middle, but can he hold for the black? Can he pot the red? A little unfortunate there, Marco Fu. But he didn't finish off with a good safety. But it could have paid dividends for him playing that poor safety. He tempted Nigel Bond into taking that red on. Had to get it.
And it's the one thing Nigel Bond didn't want to do, having seen Fu struggle, is to give him an easy starter. Well, he's kind of walking a tightrope, isn't he, at the moment?
Well, he is. How did he hit those two reds? I mean, he could have missed those reds so easily. Well, he's just struggling so badly at the moment. Nigel really needs to pick up on this.
Yeah, snooker is a very difficult game, of course, but someone like Marco Fu is so good at it that it's a surprise to see him struggle quite this badly. We've seen him play so well down the years.
Yes, a great scorer, as we've already said. But he's just not there at the moment. Nearly 300 century breaks to his name, Marco Fu. Playing like he hasn't made one. Needs a kiss. He got it. How did he miss all those reds?
Yes, it's disappointment for Bond, I think, because he's seen his opponent struggle, but he's not been able to take full advantage. Only 2 points in this frame. And of course, there's no guarantee Fu's going to continue struggling.
Well, especially with pots like that. Raise of the hand, but that was an outrageous fluke. Tried to catch that red thin. Got it 3/4 ball and potted it in the middle. What about this?
Well, imagine trying to do that. How many attempts would you need? Maybe 200 to actually pot it.
And as you said, David, he's such a good player, Marco Fu, that he's not going to keep playing as badly. Well, having said that, how did he finish up there?
Well, he snooked himself on all 6 colours.
And not easy to hit any of them. And got to be careful with this red that's closest to the left corner here, the one nearest his hand. Doesn't want to leave that on. Green called. Too straight on the long red. So having it replaced. And as I said, not easy to hit a colour here. Got to be careful of the free ball as well. Don't think he'll hit it quite as hard this time.
Green ball.
Green ball called again. Not hard enough this time.
It's not a free ball. You can hit the red on the top cushion, the 2 there. But he's landed in trouble here. He fluked that red out of the snooker, and he thought, well, are things going to turn around now? Well, they haven't done.
Green ball.
That's 3 misses. Of course, he is snookered, so it's not in the frame.
Well, he's getting closer to this green. He's trying to land in behind the green. Maybe even play the snooker. Yes, good shot. They hit it full ball. It was a snooker. Great pot. Not quite got into the cue ball to get back for the blue, but chance to play a good safety. Well, is he taking this yellow on? Good pot. Didn't fully commit to the position. Oh, that's very unfortunate. the three reds just in awkward positions. Just not there at the moment. So same scenario for Nigel Bond. The reds not in easy positions. And these are very tough reds to take on just off the cushion. Had it been dead on the cushion, it would have been relatively easy. Just caught the angle, stayed there.
Yeah, it just caught the cushion, that red. And these pockets are tight.
Could go straight at the reds here, but I think he's playing for the black. No, played up for the blue. Well, not a bad kiss on the blue. He can play for the red to play for the double. I think that's all he's got on. Now, does he bring that other red into play in attempting this double? Dangerous shot to play. He could screw away from it and still play the double. Now he wishes that he played the cannon to the red. Although not a bad angle on the black to try and bring that red into play. And he's played for the double again.
A double-double.
He's obviously good at doubles. He's come a little far though for it to be a natural double. Well, I think he played that at the same time as playing the double. Had it gone in, he would have just tucked in behind the black. And this is trouble now for Nigel Bond. Tough snooker, and he's got to get it safe when he hits it.
Yes, he's got no colours on cushions, so if he leaves this red on, it's a chance for Fu to win this second frame.
That's a good hit, but he's left the red on. And if Marco Fu does win this frame, he'll probably wonder how he's won it.
Well, I agree, and I think it's a problem for Bond because Fu has played about as bad as he ever has done in the first two frames, but it could be one each shortly.
He's just checked to see if the yellow passes the green into the green pocket. Looks like it does from here. He needs the blue. Well, that only just went in. He just seems to be playing a little tentative for me, Marco Fu. Not quite getting through the ball. But he just needs the blue.
Well, maybe this will be the fillip he's been looking for. Marco Fu, I'm sure, will be the first to admit he hasn't played well yet, but he's won the frame. It's all that counts ultimately. He's got himself involved in this match. Some big hitters coming in tomorrow, by the way. We've got Neil Robertson, we've got Judd Trump, John Higgins, Mark Williams, Mark Allen, all in action. Of course, Mark Selby and Sean Murphy with the two big names not to qualify. I'm sure Sean will be watching. He loves his snooker, even if he's been knocked out. He'll be watching.
Yeah, well, if he is, we wish him the best with the new cue. Always difficult when you have to get used to a new cue. Great pot. Just let that cue ball run a little far. Now, does he take this black on? He'd only need to drop it in, bounce off the cushion. He may be able to cannon into one of the reds. That's a good pot. And deserved that little kiss. He's nicely on the red to the left corner. Well, he didn't play that one well, and a little fortunate to have finished so nicely on the blue to the corner.
Nigel Bond, a player who's kept his head down and played snooker over the years. I can't remember him being involved in any controversy, ever saying the wrong thing. Great gentleman. And he's had a great career, and it continues. 48 in November. But as I say, he's looked after himself, and he does genuinely enjoy the game as well. It's been his life.
Looks like he can just play the little cannon here to the red to hold for the black. Well, chose to go up for the blue. Nothing wrong with that. Now, he may well choose to go into them here. No easy red to play for. If he can try and hit the pink on the left side. Well, it's worked out okay. And this is more like it. This will do his confidence a world of good. If he can knock in a big break here. Not quite straight on this red, so position not guaranteed here. Well, I feel sure he would take the green on if the brown wasn't there. But it's just a little tuck up behind the blue.
Frustrating that for Bond. He's looking good to win the frame there in one visit. As I say, you don't have to make a century every frame, but you can win with 250s. But of course, in that scenario, your opponent will get at least one shot in between.
Even if it's just to escape from a snooker. Because he's in big trouble here, Marco Fu. He does like playing this two-cushion escape, though. Potted one the last time. Caught it too thick again, and no, I thought he'd nearly potted it again.
That would have been start the car time, I think.
Well, we'd have had to start thinking he's playing it.
Of course, he was from Hong Kong. He learned his snooker in Canada. And Cliff Thorburn has always been credited with that two-cushion escape. Whether he actually is responsible for it, I don't know, but it's always said that he is.
Well, he was a little fortunate there, Marco Fu, to have caught the red three-quarter ball and get away with that. It just gets harder and harder for Marco Fu. It was never an easy safety shot. And again, he's had a little bit of luck there. Could have left something a lot easier than this red to the centre or the corner. He's playing the safety. That's another good pot. And he's the right side of the blue. Black and pink, not in easy positions. But he's 46 points in front. dear. That was a careless miss there from Nigel Bond.
So can Marco Fu string some sort of break together here?
Well, if he could take all blues with these reds, he wouldn't need the pink and black. Not easy. He's got to keep getting the right side of the blue. I think he's the wrong side of this red to get the right side of the blue. Played that one well.
Well, he might come down to that pink now. He's going to need it.
Could have played that one better. Difficult to hold for the yellow now from the blue. Maybe as well playing the yellow here. He's still going to need the pink. Good pot. And nicely back around for the yellow.
36.
Needs to leave a nice angle on the brown to get to the blue. Perfect. Now mustn't finish straight on the blue or the wrong side of it. Just what he didn't want. And now it's going to be difficult to get to the pink. Very difficult to get to the pink now from there. Time to take stock of things now, I think. If he pots the blue, he only needs one ball.
15.
Yeah, keep that pink well away from the black. And well away from a pocket. If that goes in, if that goes in.
Can you believe it? Well, what an end to that frame. Incredible. We're looking at Marco Fu. I don't think Nigel Bond will be too impressed, but it's gone in. Well, this was it again.
Yes, it was playing to miss the pocket by about 6 inches and leave the pink on the baulk line, but what an outrageous fluke.
Incredible. So Fu leads Bond 2-1. Frame 4 getting underway. Marco Fu 2, Nigel Bond 1. Marco Fu just fluked the last pink in frame 3.
Yes, and he started off with a fluke in frame 4. Didn't play that snooker. And if he comes off the left side cushion and lands up into the left side of the pack of reds, he could leave that red on to the left corner. So that's creating a problem for Nigel here. He could come off the right side cushion and land up into them. I can only assume he's scared of skimming past the pack and leaving reds on. I'll be happy with that. Just caught it a little too thick.
Yes, Nigel's kind of seen it all before, but it doesn't make it any easier to swallow.
Yeah, he's probably thinking as well that he should be 3-0 up. He could be 3-0 up. He should be at least 2-1 up. He's 2-1 down. And Marco Fu is still struggling with his long shots. Hit the wrong side of the ball there. Good pot. Could just see enough of that red. Now, looks like the only red that will go is the one to the right of the black. He needs it to slow down.
Remember one year at the Crucible, it was 9-all, was Nigel, with Stephen Hendry in the first round. Potted the black to win and went in off. It tied the scores, so the black came back up. And he did pot it, the respot, to win the match. It's not good for the old heart rate, though, that sort of finish. There again, that red could have finished anywhere.
Yes, he missed it by some distance again, didn't hit the jaws. And as you said, David, he could have left that red on. He's certainly having the luck at the moment, Marco Fu. Well, he played the double, but he also played the white ball where it is, so no colour to go for. Just the roll up behind the green. Trying to cut off the left side of the table, but hasn't done that. is it Nigel's turn to have a little bit of luck, or can he get through the gap? Well, he's got a chance at this red. Problem is the cue ball is going into that cluster of reds. It's always a danger playing it at that speed, trying to hold for the black. Cue ball could have just turned in towards the red slightly. Well, he probably played to hide the red if he missed it. But there's still other reds that are available. That had to go in.
Marco Fu will have played well many times and not won in matches. He struggled so far today, but he is leading 2-1, and he's in here in frame 4. When we played Peter Ebdon at the Crucible 2006 semi-final, fought back from a long way down. 15-9, I think he was down. Only lost in a decider in the end, 17-16. Played terrifically well, but he still just came up short.
Well, you've got to say that that's not a good shot to leave the cue ball there from such an easy red. But that's a good recovery. And a nice angle on this red to come out for one of the colours.
You can hear all the noise. It's because they just finished the third frame on table 1. Jamie Burnett's won it. He leads 2-1 against Deng.
Again, didn't go according to plan. Sure, if played for those two reds below the pink into the right corner. Oh, nice little kiss. And maybe the run just changing a little. Last couple of shots has got Nigel's way. And have to go some to make up for that fluke pink in the last frame. Well, that hasn't worked out. So a chance for Nigel. You've got to be able to take those, though. There's a lot to look back on in this first session. Well, both players have. Had to make that plant. Now, will he take the blue one or the brown? Or will he play the snooker?
I think from Fu's point of view, you'd be thinking, well, okay, I've not played my best stuff, but I've not been punished. Yes, he was lucky at the end of the last frame, but even so, Bond did have chances before that.
Yeah, Yes, you're dead right. Marco Fu will be going to the dressing room, and he won't really think about the shots he's missed because he could be in front 3-1. Nigel Bond, on the other hand, if he goes to the dressing room, he's going to be thinking about all the chances he's missed. But what he's got to remember is that there's a long way to go, and it can all change. Your form can change after a session. We've seen it many times.
What is true, though, is that in snooker, it's not always just about your performance. It's about your opponents as well. You can play really badly. If they play even worse, you'll win. Equally, you can play really well, but if they play a bit better, then they'll win. But 3-1 at the interval, he'd certainly accept that right now, I think.
.42 points in front. Just checking the scoreboard, but he's going to need one of those safer reds. He's got choices here. He can leave a nice angle to play the cannon to one of the two reds behind the black, or leave an angle on the black to drop him behind the two reds by the left side cushion. It's all about choice. Looks like he's played for the ones behind the black. And hasn't worked out. .57 points in front, just needs one more red, but thin cut to the right corner. Oh, this close red. Very difficult with the red being so close to the white. But I'm not sure if this red is cuttable. He would know. He didn't think so. So Nigel Bond lives again.
42 from Fu puts him 57 in front, with 59 still on. Frustrating for the man from Hong Kong.
Oh, great pot. Well, what a way to win a frame. If he does indeed win it, he should do from there.
Well, there's nothing lucky about that one. That was just a great pot. Worth seeing again. Really crisply struck by Marco Fu. So he leads by 60. 3 snookers needed. Nigel Bond won his only ranking title by getting a snooker in the decider against John Higgins in the British Open 1996. 69 behind with 5 reds on, so 67 on. Got the snooker, won on the black. But he won't be winning this frame because Fu's knocked that one in. And he's just starting to look like he's got a bit of a spring in his step now, Marco Fu. He's certainly be obviously the more happy of the two as they go to the interval. That fluke on the pink in the third frame was a big help, but Nigel Bond has not quite put him away as he maybe could have done, with Fu struggling early on. So he leads 3-1 and he'll be very happy with that going to the interval. Nigel Bond not so much. Bit of noise around because they are at the interval in the Deng match, so the audience milling about, the referee just asking them to just settle a bit. Joe Perry going well, 4-1 up on Jamie Cope. Joe just 2 days ago won the Asian Tour title in Yixing. And Joel Walker leads Alex Davis 4-2. Michael White 3-2 up on Chow Yu Peng. Martin Gould 3-2 up on Kurt Mafflin. The other matches here today.
Just playing the containing safety shot there, Marco Fu, but not quite getting the cue ball close enough to the black cushion. And that was a chance for Nigel Bond. Oh, has he covered the red? Well, nice angle on the green, and maybe even the brown, although he can put more pace into the cue ball playing the green. He couldn't have struck that much better. I don't think he's on anything. So just the safety. Well, that's a pretty good safety, and that's where he played the cue ball. Can see a red Nigel, but can't do much with it.
So nice to see a big crowd in. Sometimes in the Chinese ranking events, not that many people turn up, largely because the tickets are not cheap in a lot of the tournaments, but they've turned up today, which bodes well as it's only day one. Of course, Deng's playing, but they're not all watching Deng. Five ranking events now in China, of course. Had one once in Hong Kong, where Marco Fu hails from. Our own Mike Hallett won it.
Well, he looked at the possibility of a plant, but I'm not sure it was that one. Well, that's a mistake. Played to hit the other side of that red. Unless Marco moves the black off the pink spot, pink would then go on the blue spot. Now he's seen something in the middle of this cluster, and the black will go to the left centre. Just nudging another red out. And this is beginning to look pretty rosy for Marco Fu.
He certainly seems a bit more measured, a bit more relaxed than earlier on when Nigel Bond was certainly the better player. That was first couple of frames.
He's just the wrong side of the black here. Wanted to be the other side of the black, so he could just roll it in and have a red to the right corner. It's a little bit more difficult now. Had to play it at great speed, play across the table, made it missable. And it's just that fraction of an inch position where he had to play it hard instead of just rolling it in. Makes all the difference. But a chance now for Nigel Bond. And you just feel he's got to take these chances when they come his way. There was a little bit of movement there.
Well, he's not made any breaks to speak of. There's only been 1/2 century in the match. That was the 56 that Fu made in the third frame. Other than that, it's really been dribs and drabs, bits and pieces.
Another half chance here. These have to go in really, because you've no idea where it's going to finish. He's got away with it, but it won't do his confidence any good missing those pots. And it'll make Marco Fu feel a lot better, seeing his opponent missing. And that's a good safety. That red there near the balk line, making it difficult to play back up the table. But that's a pretty good safety from Nigel Bond. Well, kiss on the brown was bad enough, but the little rub on the green just rubbed salt into the wound. Trouble.
He's had a few as well, let's be honest, Marco, today. Little bits of luck.
Very close. Where's it going to finish? Just a little bit more right-hand side on the cue ball. Oh, how close was that? Points are mounting up though. He's so afraid of hitting them too thick. But he's 56 points behind now.
£19 points he's given away here.
I suppose this is a half chance for Marco Fu. Good safety. Excellent shot from Nigel Bond. Easy enough to hit a red. Not quite so easy to get it safe. Marco Fu's turn to try and play the two cushion escape, but he was nowhere near that one. Well, he's considering taking this red on, but I think he's got to put this back. He's not been getting anywhere near the long pots.
Well, roles have suddenly been reversed here. It was Nigel Bond who was snooking a moment ago. Just got to agree on where all these balls were. The first winner of the session is Joel Walker, young lad who a couple of years ago was mentored by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Well, he's won 5-2 against Alex Davis. Alex Davis had beat Sean Murphy in the qualifying. So well done to Joel Walker. Attempt number 2 then.
Well, more or less the same shot. go again. Well, it's exactly the same shot each time, isn't it? The cannon from blue to green. He's done it 3 times. The cannon, that is. He's hit the blue 4.
What does he say? He hit one? Well, he must apparently hit one.
Oh, I didn't think he did.
Well, Nigel couldn't believe that.
I'd like to see that one again. Oh, great pot. Just come too far for the black, has he? Well, again, that's very unlucky. He's just not getting any run at all at the moment. Did well to pot it. And now, if you can get this black on the pink spot. Oh, that's again very unfortunate. Well, he desperately needed that one to go in. Now Marco Fu with a chance. Caught it too thick.
I think if the double kiss had knocked that red in, then that would have been, even someone as mild-mannered as Nigel Bond, that would have been hide the sharp implements time.
Yes, well, he's got a chance here. Oh, it just shows you how tight those pockets are. It was a chance, but it wasn't a gimme.
We have another winner, Joe Perry. He's beaten Jamie Cope 5-2. Perry have won that Asian Tour event 2 days ago. Obviously in good form here in China, and he's into the last 32. He plays either Deng or Jamie Burnett. It's 3-2 to Burnett there. So the black puts him 35 in front with 4 reds on. Been a strange frame this. They were each snookered. We still haven't seen a replay of the escape from Marco Fu. The referee thought was fair. Lead the next red after this black to lead Bond needing snooker. So Marco Fu looks like he's won 4 frames in a row.
Yes, and he could have lost them all, couldn't he? That's how tight it's been.
Yes, it's been a closely... Oh, hello. Complete miscue.
Well, that was a foul.
Well, it's all happening. Let's hope his tip's all right. As I say, it's been a closely fought match, but the scoreline isn't close. It's 4-1. Well, we're underway in frame 6. Nigel Bond has potted a red. Unfortunately, we didn't see it. He needs to start potting a few. He needs to get a break going, I think. He hasn't had any to speak of in the match, and time's running out for him. Trailing 4-1.
Yes, he's just come round to see if the red next to the black will go to the right corner, which would then release the black. But I'm pretty sure he'd have played for it already. So obviously that red next to the black doesn't go. Now if he can get the right side of the blue. Not good. Finish straight on the blue. Now has to get the right side of the blue this time, and that will give him the option of playing for that last loose red at the back of the pack there, or going into them. But he must get the right side. That's good. Now he's got the option now of going into them or playing for that loose red. And this is more like it. Decided to play for the loose one, and he's a little hard. We can't blame him for playing for the loose one. He can't afford any more mistakes. Nigel could decide to bring the black into play here, playing off the red to the right of the black, or he could decide to open the reds. Choice is his. Didn't want that hit on the knuckle there, but no damage done. Now Marco Fu's turn to open the reds and try and get that cue ball close to the cushion. Difficult cueing to take the pink on, so just the safety. Once again, Marco Fu gets that little bit of run, clipping the pink thin. He could have easily hit it full ball, which would have left the cue ball down this end of the table. Nigel Bond really digging deep here. That was a good safety. Lots of right hand side on the cue ball to dodge the black. And that forced the mistake. Now, can he pot anything? Does the red pass the black? I don't think so. Well, looking at it there, it may do.
Well, it's a test of his 47-year-old eyes, I think. But he's right behind it.
Yes, he'll know. Doesn't matter what the camera's showing us at this side, we know that the camera lies.
Well, it doesn't go.
Well, that's very fortunate, again, for Marco Fu.
Yes, Marco will admit he's had a lot of run in the match. It's not to say Bond hasn't had other chances as well, but certainly the fluke in the third frame was a big moment on that pink. Because he hadn't played a good shot to get on the blue originally. That's why he didn't end up with a pot on the pink. Played a bad safety, it went in the yellow pocket. That was end of frame.
Well, he's left Marco Fu with a little tempter here. The red will go to the middle. Red may even go to the left corner. Yes, good pot. Now, is he going to get any luck? I'm afraid not. It was a terrific pot. Thin cut to the middle. Fully expected to be on the black.
Could have been end of match. Nigel Bond knows that. He could have got on the black there, but he's not. Not on anything. Really a cute angle, that, as well. But this time the luck deserts him.
Yes, and if he rolls up to the black, he leaves the red into the corner or the middle. He's left a red on. Well, he's left a couple of reds on, but neither one of them easy. Well, he must have been very close. But the referee was right there. doesn't really want to play off that cluster of reds and bring the black into play. And that's the easiest safety to play. That's a good pot. Played with a lot of right-hand side on the cue ball to avoid the reds, and a good kiss on the brown. Next red's going to be difficult. Good positional shot, but still difficult red this. He's building a nice lead here, Nigel Bond. And it just stuck to the reds, didn't it, the cue ball? Well, I've got to be careful now with that red going over the right corner.
Yes, he's chipping away, but as I say, he's not really made any breaks in the match, which will be a disappointment to him, I'm sure. You can hear all the noise in the background. It's 3-all Deng and Jamie Burnett. Deng just won the 6th frame. This tournament began as an invitation event, the Jiangsu Classic. Deng won the first staging of that. Became a ranking tournament last year. £80,000 first prize, which is an increase for £5,000 from last year. Defending champion though, already out. Ricky Walden beaten by Jimmy White 5-2 earlier today. Great win for Jimmy.
Well, I don't think he played to pot that in the middle, but it's a good job it went in, really, because there was a red on to the right corner. Oh, what's that? But this is tough now. Hit the blue full, but with that red over the right corner, he was always going to leave it on.
So Nigel Bond in again. Another winner in this session is Chow Yu Peng. He's beaten Michael White, one of the stars of the World Championship, quarter-finalist there, young lad from Wales. 5-3 there to Chow. He plays Fergal O'Brien or another star of the Crucible, Barry Hawkins, the runner-up to Ronnie O'Sullivan, just last month. Now can Bond get himself over the line here? 45 in front if he pots this blue.
Playing to disturb something. Does he play to pot the pink? He only needs the pink. Or does he play a colour safe? didn't push a colour safe. One good pot. Well, if this black goes in, he may have wished to put another colour safe. He could have pushed the pink or blue, or even the brown safe.
It's got to go in though, otherwise he needs a snooker. Just seemed to slightly pull away there. So 45 in it. 43 on, a red on, black waiting. Should be 4-2. So relief for Nigel Bond that he's extended this match. It wasn't the prettiest of frames, but he's still in with a chance here, because it's not as if Fu's playing world-beating stuff himself. He's never beaten Marco Fu, the Hong Kong man, 3-0 on the head-to-head, including 2 wins in China. There's a lot of players, maybe younger players, who would have kind of thrown the toys out the pram by now with various bits of luck Fu's been having, but Nigel Bond has been around a while. He's much more level-headed than that, and as I say, he's extended the match by at least one more frame. He's won the 6th, so he trails Marco Fu by 4 frames to 2. So frame 7 getting underway. It's 4-2. Marco Fu leading Nigel Bond. Bond won that last frame. He was very scrappy, but he's got it on board. 3-3 between Deng Junhui and Jamie Burnett, live on Eurosport 1 right now. It's a cracking pot from Marco Fu. Just wanted that white to hold up.
Yes, no easy way to get to the reds, and he knows if he just rolls up behind the ball, easy enough to land up into the reds. Cutting off the right side of the table, but still should be able to land up into the reds here. Twice across the table. No problem. Touching. caught them much too thick. He's opened the reds. And although there is a red on, it's not easy to get to a colour. No idea where the cue ball was going. But it's not finished up too badly. I think the pink does go to the left corner. The black may go to the middle. These are missable shots, especially when you're 4-2 down. Nicely played.
Well, is this the moment where Nigel Bond steps it up and produces a bit of form? As I say, it's been closely fought, the match, even though the scoreline at 4-1 obviously heavily favoured Fu. It still does at 4-2, but if he starts to play here, Bond, he knows he can still win this match. I'm sure he was very proud to win that World Seniors Championship because it contained a lot of players he would have watched growing up. In fact, he beat a couple of them, Dennis Taylor and Tony Knowles.
He does seem to be cueing a lot better. And it's amazing what a few balls, potting a few balls can make, winning a frame. All of a sudden the game doesn't quite seem as hard.
Well, it's already his highest break of the match. He's hoping it'll be a winning break in this frame.
Oh dear, And he's going to hit the reds as well.
Well, of course, Fu did that a couple of frames ago, right at the end of the frame, but this one could be a lot more decisive, this miscue.
He was going so well there, wasn't he? He was trying to screw into the reds and come out of them, finishing 2 straight on the red.
Well, it could be his last shot, and what a horrible way to go out if it is.
Well, doesn't really want to pot the brown. That would tie the brown and black up. And he's going to need them both. But he's going to need the brown anyway. Brown will go directly in front of the black. And here is this black cushion.
Deng's 4-3 up now against Jamie Burnett. We won't need to tell you if he wins 5-3 because you'll hear a roar if he does.
Well, that worked out nicely. Obviously didn't play that kiss on the red. But it couldn't have worked out any better.
So that brown that's tied up with the black at the moment is looking like a bit of security for Bond.
A nice angle to play for that red on the right side cushion. Well, decided to bring it into play, and it could have been better. These look easy on television, but tough shots these down the rail. Good pot. This time not a good kiss. Maybe bring the brown and black into play. He's going to need them. Good safety. I think he's got the snooker. Good escape. but he's left a chance for Marco Fu.
Another winner, Martin Gould, has beaten Kurt Mafflin 5-3. He plays either Neil Robertson or Zhu Yinghui. They're up tomorrow.
That's the problem now for Marco Fu. He needs that brown. He could always play the snooker in behind the black. Now, does he have the angle to nudge the brown out here? I think he's a little too straight on the yellow. He tried to just nick the brown. Now he can play the snooker in behind the black. After potting the green, that is. Don't think he's brought that cue ball far enough. This is a tough snooker to lay. He'd have to play it dead weight, and if the cue ball ran off, he may leave the brown on. It wasn't worth the risk. Where's that cue ball going to finish? Oh, that could have been a disaster.
So 2 points in it on the brown. And the difference, of course, it's either victory for Fu or we go into at least one more frame.
Doesn't want it to bounce. Well, this is definitely a chance. Whether he takes it on or not is another thing. But if it goes in, it could be end of frame and match. Great pot. Great pot. And it's come far enough past the blue to be able to get to the pink, and he'll only need the pink.
Please.
Referee just asking for a bit of hush. 2 balls away here, Fu, from a place in the second round.
Well, it was a great brown he potted, but he's just in no man's land there on the pink. He'll have to take it to the middle, but another couple of inches and it was a gimme.
Well, it was the pink, of course, in frame 3 that he fluked, which really turned the match in his favour. Bond wondering if he's going to pot this one for victory.
It's out.
Yeah. It's a win for Marco Fu of Hong Kong. It wasn't the prettiest of matches, but he'll be delighted with the result. He beats Nigel Bond 5-2. He'll play Mark King in the last 32. Big cheer for Marco Fu as he leaves the arena here a winner by 5 frames to 2.